The most valuable part of an email technically isn't even part of the message. It's the subject line. This is the only portion of the email that you can virtually guarantee your readers will pay attention to. And yet, most of us consistently misuse this portion of the message, writing subject lines that are either too short and too generic or too long and too ambitious. In this video, I'll show you a foolproof formula for email subject lines that harness the simple genius of polite questions and polite commands. But before we discuss this foolproof formula in depth, please take a moment to subscribe to our channel. For the next few months, my colleagues and I in the Management Communications Center at the University of Florida will be posting actionable tips on workplace communication. By subscribing, you can also keep up with all the cool stuff going on at UF's Warrington College of Business. Now, to understand why this foolproof formula works, we first need to think about what workplace email actually is. Workplace email is not simply a blank canvas for communication, an all-purpose means of conveying information. Instead, email is, or at least it should be, a tool for motivating action. Think about it. In virtually every email you send, you're trying to get someone to do something. You're asking them to send their availability for a meeting. You're asking them to send a document. You're telling them to complete a task or contact a client. In fact, in even the most basic informational emails, you're still trying to convince your reader to engage with and remember what you wrote. Which brings us to our foolproof formula. Given the fact that virtually all emails are intended to motivate action, we want subject lines that match that purpose. And two of the most basic, most direct ways to motivate action in English are through polite commands and polite questions. Polite commands, on the one hand, typically take the form of please, followed by some sort of action phrase. Please send report on client X by 6/12, for instance, or please contact Pilar for info on project X. Polite questions, on the other hand, often take the form of could you please, followed by an action phrase. Constructions like could you please send client X report by 6/12, or could you please contact Pilar for project X info. These two subject line formats have different virtues. Polite commands are, as the previous examples suggest, normally more concise than polite questions, but they also sound a bit more direct. Polite questions, by contrast, are a bit wordier than polite commands, but they come across as more courteous. I therefore recommend polite commands for peers and direct reports, folks with whom it's okay to be a bit more blunt. And I recommend polite questions for clients and higher-ups, folks, in short, who expect a bit more deference from you. This subject line format is endlessly adaptable. As long as you're using your email to motivate action, you can almost certainly find a way to express your purpose as either a polite question or a polite command. This formula also has the added benefit of focusing your writing. And that's because to use this formula effectively, you first have to identify your central purpose and distill it down to a short affirmative statement. Simply by doing these two things, by identifying your purpose and stating it succinctly, you're automatically avoiding the most common cause of disastrous emails, namely the absence of a clear, succinctly stated purpose. Finally, this formula helps you produce appropriately sized subject lines. Because polite commands and polite questions typically fall in the 40 to 60 character range, they allow you to avoid the twin perils of short generic subjects on the one hand, Tuesday meeting, for instance, or client X report, and so-called CEO subject lines on the other hand. Those massive, sprawling subject lines that attempt to convey the entire content of an email in a single line. Instead, they provide a clear sense of your message's purpose while ensuring that the bulk of your subject line appears in your reader's mobile or Outlook preview pane. And with that, we come to the end of today's video. Thanks for checking out this foolproof formula for email subject lines. If this formula has worked for you, or if you have other great tips to share, let us know in the comments. Be sure to subscribe to learn more ways to improve your workday by communicating like an expert, and keep an eye out for more communication tips from me and my colleagues at the University of Florida's Management Communication Center.